What's up, you guys? It's KeAmber Vaughn, aka CoachKe, coming back to you with another video. If you are new to my channel, welcome, and if you are not new, welcome back. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and also tap the bell so that you are notified of every new video that I post. So as you guys can tell by the title of this video, I'm going to be showing you guys the 4 different places where I track my everyday expenses. Now, I know some people will probably be like, look, 4 different places, that's kind of like overkill. But for me, it's a checks and balances type of situation. There are times where I will forget certain expenses, and so if I'm only tracking it in one place, I'm probably not going to have all of my expenses in that one particular place. There are things that are going to be missing, etc., etc. So for me, most of the time, at least 3 of the 4 places will have all the expenses, and one of the places in my planner, there are times where I kind of forget. So there are 2 places where I track it in my planner, and then I also have an Excel spreadsheet where I track it in 2 different places on there as well. Now, I know some people are probably going to be like, well, why don't you use an app like EveryDollar or YNAB? I have tried EveryDollar before, but for me, I kind of didn't like it because, first of all, I don't follow the EveryDollar budget planning or budgeting, whatever. I don't follow that personally, so that really didn't work out that well for me. And then also, I never really tried YNAB. I've seen people use it. It's just not something that looks very appealing to me. I don't know. Yeah, it just doesn't. And plus, for me, my mother is a financial analyst. She's basically been a financial analyst my entire life, and so watching her have to do all of these like financial statements and stuff like that, putting expenses and income and all these different things into Excel spreadsheets my whole life, and having to learn, like, you know, how to put Excel spreadsheets together and equations and freezing panes and all that stuff since I was a kid, that's just what I'm used to. So that's kind of why I've taken this route. Now, I have also tried another app, I guess you could say, or tool, a budgeting tool, and it actually comes with the package that I use, the programming that I use or whatever for the credit services that I have. It comes with a debt elimination software and a budgeting tool as well. And I actually used the budgeting tool up until like last year, but the reason why I had to stop using it is because it does connect to my bank account, which is a good thing. But the problem is, it doesn't, like, let's say that I make an expense on the last day of the month, right? Well, it's probably not going to process through my account until the next day or 2 days later. And so what happens is that budgeting tool, it kind of lags a little bit. It only tracks something when it actually processes all the way through the bank account. And so that can throw my numbers off because it's going to show that expense for the following month. And there's really nothing I can do to like change the date of it or anything. And then the other problem is when it comes to the expenses. So this particular tool, I can track my expenses and my income. I can link it up with all of my bank accounts, savings accounts, all of that stuff. And then there's a couple of other things that I can put in manually, and it tracks like my net worth and stuff like that. But if I get paid, let's say on the 31st, but it doesn't process all the way through my bank account until the 2nd of the following month or the 3rd of the following month, it's going to show that income for the following month. And so it throws my numbers all off. So before, it wasn't really a big deal because I wasn't this like OCD and anal about my finances, but now that I am, it just like throws me off and it gives me anxiety, so I just don't use it anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys the 2 places in my budget book or my budget planner where I track my expenses, and then I'm going to show you guys also the 2 places that I track it in my Excel spreadsheet. Now, my spreadsheet is huge, but I'm just going to focus in on the expense part of it because I track like all of my paychecks from all of my different sources, and I track so many different things, and it's just too much. But we're talking about expenses today, so I'm just going to show you guys that part of the spreadsheet. So without further ado, let's go ahead and change this angle all around so you can see where I track my expenses. All right, you guys, so the first place that I track my everyday expenses is a place that you guys know about already because you see this every single week. This is in my expense tracker. And so, of course, I put down where I spent the money, the date, the amount. I track my category balance here as well, and then I put any notes that I need to know just for future references. I usually put that I use my debit card because I don't really carry cash at all, and I don't really use my credit card very much at all. And then over here where you see the X's, this is where I track whether or not I have already tracked it in the second place, which is the Excel spreadsheet. And so because there are two places in the Excel spreadsheet for me to track it, I put a check mark when I put it in the first place, and then I exit off when I put it into the second place. Now the second place that I track my everyday expenses will actually end up being in my weekly spread. And so what you'll see on the right side of this weekly spread is the daily expenses part. And so if at any point in time during that day I went out and I spent some money, I'm going to put where the place is, what category it goes in. So here you see R for restaurant, and then I put the amount. And so this helps me because as I'm looking through my weekly spread on a weekly basis, you know, during the week, going through all of my different things that I have to do in life and business and all of that stuff, just my schedule overall, I get to see like, okay, girl, it is Thursday and you've already spent money every single day this week. I think you need to calm down and slow down. So this allows me to be able to see all of my expenses kind of within just that week instead of the entire month like I see it in the expense tracker. Okay guys, so here is my expense tracker as far as the Excel spreadsheet goes. And so what I do is I have two spreadsheets in the book for each month. There's one place where I detail out, kind of like in my expense tracker, where every dollar has gone in that particular category. And that's where you see down here like March expenses, February expenses, January expenses. And then also what you're gonna see is you'll see the dates here. And these dates let me know where my expenses are coming from in that particular month. So for me, it's never from the first until the end of the last day of the month. It's never like that because of how I get paid. I get paid every single Friday. You guys should know this by now, but I know some of you all are new. And so the first Friday of March was March 2nd, and then the first Thursday of April is April 5th, I believe. Yeah, April 5th. And so my expenses for March will go all the way until April 5th because my first Friday payday of April is April 6th. Now the thing is, all of my income that I earned from March 31st, which is the last Saturday of the month, all the way until the first Friday of April will actually go towards April's income. And so what I do after I do my budget with me on camera with you guys through my planner, I then go into the Excel spreadsheet. I create a new spreadsheet. I really just copy the last one and change the numbers, to be honest with you. I take the shortcut route. And so in all of my budget categories, the grocery, the restaurant, all of that stuff, I put the estimated there. And then as the month goes on, as I have these expenses, I put it in the actual column, and then you guys can see that I have the remaining there. And so where you see right here the threshold, all that means is that is the total amount of just my bills, no everyday expenses or anything like that. So that's $1615.43. So these expenses right here in the actual column only run me until, let me go to my expense tracker because I showed you guys how I know what I've already tracked in here. That only goes to the 13th. So I guess I can show you guys how I end up doing it. And so let's see, I'll just put like one or two of them in. So my next expense on my expense tracker that I have not put in here yet is a personal household item. So I literally just go here, I put plus $28.79 because that's how much it was, and I go ahead and click enter, and I just do that, and I go all the way down the sheet up until where I am at the time. Sometimes I'm a little behind, like as you can see I'm like a week behind, but I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think 6 expenses since the last time we met on my budget results. So yeah, I had a lot of expenses last time, but I don't this time. So I'm not going to go through all of them. So what I do is I do that, right? And so then I go into this expenses part, and we're on personal household, right? So this was done on the 14th of the month, and it was Target. And then it was $28.79. and then we come here and we drag this down because the same equation that happened there will happen for this one, and that leaves us with 559. So again, another reason why I do it this way is because there have been times where I've miscalculated in my budget planner because let's say that I'm tracking the personal household and I might have missed a line, like when I go to see what my previous category balance was so that I can subtract it from that, I might have totally overlooked the last one and looked to the second to last one, and then I'm like, man, okay, well on my expense tracker it's showing $10, so what am I missing? So then I can look and say, oh, you know what, instead of me taking it from the last Walmart expense, I took the previous category balance from Ross, and so that is where that income or that category balance amount is missing on my expense tracker. And so that's, again, this is where my checks and balances kind of comes from. And so I literally just do this every single month, you guys. I track it in real time in my expense tracker in the planner. I try to do it in real time on the daily expenses, but I kind of mess up and forget sometimes. And then a couple of times a week, I'll just say, okay, I got a couple of lines on this expense tracker that I'm missing in the Excel spreadsheet. Let's go ahead and put these 4 or 5, expenses in here. And I just pretty much go from there. That's literally it. So it seems like a lot, but it's really not. And like I said, when you are very serious about your finances, you do kind of get a little OCD with stuff. Like I'll be missing a couple of dollars and I'm like, okay, where is this? But that's what helps me to understand and know exactly where my money is going. Because when you already have a plan for your money and you can't figure out where it went, it's very easy for you to find, okay, where that money is missing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give this video a thumbs up and also subscribe if you haven't already. But other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.